There's nothing worse in this world than sitting back to watch a BL drama, sit back, relax, let the troubles go away, let your brain switch off completely. Then something happens, you see. One of the actors picks up a guitar. Shut up, for the purposes of this is a guitar. Do not judge. They're ready, they're sat, they're waiting. My cat is eating biscuits very loudly. You take a moment. Your skin pales. A sickness starts to fill your stomach and your breathing becomes shaky. You feel like everything's going wrong because you know in one moment that actor is about to sing. I feel like if you have never experienced a Thai BL and witnessed this, you just don't know the meaning of pain. Almost all of them cannot sing to save their lives. And yet, why do they still try? Baby, you love me so. And so I thought, I've tried singing like Dima. I've also tried singing like a K-pop idol. Why not sing like a Thai BL actor? Yay! I am going to sing just like some of your favourite and not so favourite Thai BL actors. And yes, my hair's a different colour during these videos. It's because I filmed them over a month and then just couldn't be bothered to film an intro and an outro, okay? We're starting with Gulf Kanawat. Yeah, yeah, yeah! Rum pa pum pa pum pum pum. Let's kill this love! Let's talk about it. So, I'm gonna start with a sort of compliment to Gulf because I admire multiple things about him. Number one, I admire the confidence to get out on stage in front of people spending so much money and think, yeah, that'll do. And I also am genuinely impressed at his lack of a shit. I was having to like redo it to put less energy in. Which brings us to our first potential fix, which I mean I would personally do. I'm not saying he should do, but I would do it. Number one, literally try. Just try, because the problem is if you're giving us nothing, it's really hard to be given solid advice to genuinely improve. Is it a breathing problem? Is it the song? Are you lacking confidence in the language maybe? Is the song in the right key for you? I can't work that out specifically, like which specific thing it is, unless you're actually trying. If you're giving nothing, you get nothing back. Aside from that, how do you think about the outfit match? I think me and Gulf are basically twinsies. Twinsies! Next up, we've got First Kanapun from Only Friends specifically. I realised the aesthetic isn't quite right, but I was just going for like band. This is more pop punk than whatever he's trying to be. Okay, it hurts my heart to say this because I do love First. I love First. That was awful. Even when he's speaking, has a very sort of rounded tone. He's quite back there. He's got a lot of space, which is a benefit. However, it's really strained. He's not using his diaphragm whatsoever. He's just using his throat. That's why when it gets to the top note, it's like, straining his vocal cords. You can like hear them grating, and like just doing that once or twice for me hurts. An easy way of approaching it is when you yawn and all the space that feels at the back, that's how open you have to try and get that space, because that'll help the air to get out without straining your vocal cords. Obviously you want to try and use your muscles here to squeeze. Try and get that diaphragm so it's working the whole time. And then if you want a little break in between the lines, so da, 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 da. Your diaphragm is still holding, it's still like gradually squeezing, like the air's being let out of a balloon. With him, it's about breath control and releasing the tension from up here, getting a lot more space in the back, and then it won't sound as strained up there. We are now on to Bright Vashira. I can't see the name, I'm going off of memory. I might think that the outfit doesn't quite fit, but like he's wearing something sporty. Sporty, by the way, did the May 50k. I'm a sporty gal. I did walk it. You gave him your sweater. It's just polyester, but you like her better. I wish You know, there's those people who are like really pretty, but then they open their mouths and they start talking or singing and the attraction just like drops. My advice initially would be close your mouth, stick to your blank expression and just pose for photos more, but I mean, I can't be mean. I've got to be professional here. Breath control needs to be worked on a hell of a lot. It's doing a bit too much. Like, you can go, he gave me her sweater. If you want to add that emotion, that bit of a whine to it, that's fine. But that was all whine. Like, a straight would be, you gave her your sweater. A bit more whine is, you gave her your sweater. But you have to pick where you're putting it in, and it's still controlled. And also the, wish I was ever, didn't sound like it was in a good place in the voice. Either make it really light with a bit of falsetto, and really hold back. I wish I were Heather. Oh. Or you really go for it, but that means don't do falsetto, just belting. I wish I were Heather. I went a bit too far with the whine there as well. I would probably mix up the riffs a bit and not do it quite like that. Trying to sort of do falsetto while putting a lot of emotion in it, in the mix just isn't there. Like, he's not strong with his mixed voice. Also, just generally, I think he doesn't have a lot of support up at the top range of his voice. When he sings lower notes, there is a nice tone there, but he's definitely not working to his advantage because he's doing the typical thing of good singers must sing high. A very basic way of thinking about singing, but there are a lot of people who'll go, this person's a good singer, and it's just because they can sing some high notes. It doesn't mean they're a good singer, just means that they have a higher range. Maybe different songs, maybe just focusing on where your range suits. I don't know, there's so much wrong with that performance. Hold back the emotion a bit more would also help, because the moment he put so much emotion in, he completely lost all control. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate in the comments. Our next contender is Mile Pakpum. He never won. Hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. I'm gonna hold my cat because you can't get mad when a cat is in the frame, right? While I'm holding him, you can't get mad, okay? Please stay here. I'll get sued. I'll get sued. He's not really singing. It's like whispers with like forced vibrato, vaguely moving up and down in tone. Some of you might like it, but personal preference, I think it sounds kind of creepy. Like, if it wasn't his smiley face, you just saw me do it, right? Was that cute or creepy? So basically, Mile, try to sing, act less cute, and sing more. I mean, come on, the amount of people saying that One Young is a pick-me when you've got that clip floating out there. Sexism, I tell you. Next up, we've got Boon Up a Nut. Before you mention it, yes, I know I'm not quite matching. I've not got the right color. The same fabric, like it's still velvet. It's kind of there. Also, I hope that you are enjoying the absolute regression of my makeup every time I change outfits. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I've got some interesting things to say about this one. Tonally, I quite like. He's definitely going for a more pop style, a nice straight tone, and like having a good straight tone is hard. However, I don't know how much I can rely on that performance because there's a little something that you may have missed. Did you see it yet? Did you see it yet? Well, it appears that this live performance, which let me tell you, he really put his all in selling this performance, making sure his hand is like holding his diaphragm to sort of really pull in that he's having a go at it. He's got the facial expression that's a new life. He's really going for it. However, he's lip syncing at least some of it, which means that I can't rely that he's actually good at any of it. Yes, he'll be good to a certain degree because you can't get a really good recorded performance without having at least some sort of skills there. But I can't give much analysis because he is clearly lip syncing. And if you look at it and go, he was singing, he was just far away from the mic. Well, let me tell you, I'm speaking at the same volume right now, but it's probably being heard at a lower volume than if I continue right up here. So it should have sounded like, I'm feeling good. I can't help you, Boone. You are a liar. Okay, now we have got fourth Natawat. I want you to know that I'll be the one, and I'll be the guy who'll be on his knees. Fourth has got a really sweet tone. It's not breathy, but it's got like an airiness to it. So rather than me going, I want you to know, we're like, I want you to know that I'll be the one. Something I really like about his voice is that he's really open. He's got a lot of space. You can hear it in his sort of words. There's nothing that feels like it's too closed off. The pronunciation, everything's like, I want you to know. And that is actually a really good exercise. He's previously taken out the consonants and just worked on the vowel shapes to get a nice flow, which he might not have done. It's pure speculation, but that is actually something which is a really good technique to make sure that you're breathing correctly and you're making that breath go straight through. Because if you get rid of the consonants, you just focus on the mouth shapes and then you'll drop those consonants back in. So, oh, I want you to know, I want you to know. Sounds a bit like he's done a bit of that, which actually would make sense as it is an English song and he might not know tons of English, or he might not be like the most confident. I don't know what his English speaking is like. He's really got a nice voice, and I hope he keeps working on it because he's still quite young and he's got a lot of room for potential and growth. The only bit which sounded slightly unsure was the guy, and I'll be the guy who'll be your... That just felt slightly like he wasn't completely confident. It sounded like if he just continued through the line and he just committed a little bit more and not sort of had a like, I think it would have come out even more beautiful. Okay, next up we have Bilkin, who... Do I know his last name? I don't think I've ever heard his last name. Lay me down tonight. Lay me by your side. Lay me down tonight. Lay me by your side. Our performance is quite mixed because there's some really lovely moments and then there's also some like slightly concerning moments. He does have a lovely tone. He's got a real solid vibrato. It doesn't sound like he's forcing the vibrato. It sounds like it really is naturally there, which is great because vibrato, yes, you can push it, but when you've got good technique it should probably start coming on its own, which tells me that he probably does have some nice technique, and also like his tone, lovely. His voice sounds really strong, confident. However, at certain moments, especially when you've got by sort of eyes, he is doing something which is pretty common in male singers in particular. A great example of the same sort of thing is Eddie Redmayne in the film adaptation of Les Miserables, where the male singers start sounding a little bit Kermit the Frog-esque, overly rounded and like sort of sound. It sounds like there would be a lot of air back there, like you've got a lot of space going on, your mouth is wide. However, generally when you do that, it's because of tongue tension. To get the certain vowels, you might be really putting a lot of tension in your tongue, which in turn is going to tighten up your back of your throat and potentially make sure that that larynx is in the way, meaning there isn't actually a lot of gaps. So you've got the space for the sound, but you don't have the air or the muscle or the space at the back to get to the front. Because his tone naturally is quite dark. It's rather than hi, it's bye. Rounded vowels probably do come a bit more naturally. They just sound a lot richer and you get that nice vibrato. But when he's doing the I, it's probably to do with the fact that it is such an English, like an English word. We've got the diphthong of I. Because leading up to that, lay me was really nice, as was the your side. So it's not like he's switching halfway through, it's just on the I. Lay me by your side. I'd recommend ba rather than bye. And when you're hearing it, when it's sung, you tend to actually interpret it as the correct word. Lay me by your side. Instead of that, you'd go lay me by your side. You could either make it a lot longer, so it was like an R, so it'd be like lay me by your side, or add some whine into it. Lay me by your side. He does the same thing when it gets to the top notes, and it's really disappointing because he clearly has a nice voice going up there, but I think he realized he was straining, so when it got higher up, he sort of retreated from it. I wish he had continued the momentum right up to the end. Lay me by your side. But he does have a really nice voice. Like, let's give it to him. He's got a really good voice. Last but not least, we have xoxo. I'm in my black tie, and you are satisfied. Sipping the red wine, just like your black lies. La 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 la. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? He's so good. He's actually demonstrating what I was just saying about Wilkin, about how when you've got a I, just make it an ah. Just like your black lies, la 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 la. Like his mouth stayed pretty much the same, the tongue was in a similar place. I've watched a lot of performances of him in search for this video, trying to find one that wasn't a really bad fan cam, which is like, you can barely hear him over the screams, you know? So, from what I could find, he's pretty consistent the whole time. The fact that he managed to get through a duet with Bright, you know, Bright, that guy, and still managed to stay perfect the whole time, like, applause. I would not be able to. I would also not be able to look as contained with my emotion as he did, because I would be like, praise. I don't have a lot to say. I think some of his songs maybe aren't my favorite. I really like his use of his low notes and his high notes. I think he's got a nice range. I've always thought of xoxo as more of a singer anyway. Like, technically he is a BL actor, but even when I saw him in Ingredients, his entire character's persona was the idea that he wanted to be a musician. He would be sat playing the guitar, singing as part of the production, and it would not be necessarily like tuned or anything. He was just playing guitar. What can I say? Like, he's great. So there we have it. I tried singing like some BL actors, and I think that has left us with one moral of the story, and that moral is, unless your name is Jeff Sutter, stop frickin' singing. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. I expect to see lots of hate in the comments, and I hope you let me know what I should do next. Ta-ra!